renewals, first times. The company needs to decide, do they want, is that person valuable enough to have $100,000 a year payment to the government, or they should head home and they should go hire an American.
Samir, $100,000 to even file H1B petition, I guess. That is the new executive order or proclamation just passed like a few minutes ago.
Well, and more than $100,000 fee, which is kind of what we were all gasping at. Think of this as more of an H1B travel ban, because if you look at the language of the executive order that was just released, but we're recording this Friday afternoon, almost 5 p.m. Pacific, just released a little while ago. It basically says that starting Sunday, anybody who has on an H1B cannot enter the U.S. unless their company files another petition for them and pays $100,000 alongside that petition. Wow. So if there's anybody who's on an H1B that is outside the U.S. right now, if they don't come back on Saturday, which, how possible is that? They're going to be stuck until there's some sort of injunction issued by a court, which will most likely happen. We just don't know how long that'll take.
Okay. This is wild. Before we get into it, can you do a quick intro? Who are you? And
yeah, this is Samir Kedeker, immigration attorney in Silicon Valley. He was expecting to have a pretty laid-back Friday afternoon before this news hit.
Yeah. So executive order was passed, and is this in effect? Like, meaning this is not a bill. You're not going to wait commenting and all of this. This is like now implement.
Basically, this is like. Do you remember the travel ban?
Yeah.
Where nationals of certain countries starting by a certain date cannot enter the U.S. Right, and you remember in that case, I think the case was Trump v. Hawaii. The court actually upheld the travel ban because it was written in such a way to restrict entry into the U.S. For those that the president deemed to be, a threat to national security, right? And the court said, well, the president has the power to restrict entry into the U.S. Right. Yeah. And if you remember the travel ban, it was issued like on a Friday, effective Sunday. Immediately causing chaos, right? But it was only applicable to certain groups of people from certain countries, predominantly Muslim countries, right? Now think of the same ban, but for all H1B holders. If you were to leave the U.S. and come back, you can't get in unless the company paid $100,000 for you. And
that is annual, meaning only.
So yeah, as we read it, remember this EO was just released, so we're all parsing it, interpreting it. But once they pay it, it looks like this $100,000 whatever payment, whatever we call this payment, is valid for a year. It needs to be paid every year if you want to travel. So if you're somebody on an H1B who doesn't leave the U.S., ostensibly there's no requirement to pay this fee because there's no entry being restricted. Right.
And so is the proclamation being called as a travel ban, or is it just basically saying like $100,000? Because that's what everyone's interpreting it as. And obviously they are probably trying to.
But I think you need to call it as a travel ban because I think that's what it is. It's not called that, right? It's just called a,
application fee, $100,000.
H1B fee.
Yeah.
But it's functioning as a travel ban for H1B holders.
Okay. And so if, again, for the students who might be on OPT, got picked in this lottery, the change of status happened on October 1st. For them, they don't have to necessarily pay $100,000 unless they go out.
That's how we read this executive order.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because in one of the clips that is being circulated where they announced this or they signed this, in that he's saying, students, whatever, like every single year you have to pay $100,000, no matter if it's a renewal or this. So it was very confusing.
Which is technically true, but also if you are outside the U.S. and plan to come in, right? So we talk about H1Bs, we talk about students who are getting H1Bs all the time, But there are plenty of people who have had H1Bs for 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 years, right? They're just as exposed to this as your new student who just got an H1B. Because if they are outside the U.S., their company has to pay the $100,000,
Oh, so
what appears to be a bribe to come back into the U.S.
So for someone whose I-140 is approved, they have H1B extension, they are like, oh, I'll just go to India, come back. Now they can't unless they pay $100,000.
That seems to be how this reads. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. So will this stay, or like will this rule stay, or I'm assuming there will be lawsuits.
There should be a lawsuit, very, very soon. But as with the travel ban, you see how the timing of this is not a mistake, right? A Friday afternoon release, effective Sunday, not giving people much time to respond. And in the case of the travel ban, at least there was some sort of inclination it was going to happen, and plaintiffs were lined up, lawsuits were drafted and ready to go. In this case, nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it might be a little bit of time before a lawsuit can be filed. I think there'd be a lot of H1B advocacy groups, law firms, lawyers going to be not sleeping this weekend, getting these lawsuits ready and filed. But I don't know how quickly they can make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone who has their flight scheduled for Monday morning, they probably not going to be able to come in unless. I don't know what they're going to do.
It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to come in. And people are going to be flying in, maybe not even aware of this rule. Like sometimes that happens. Turned away, stuck at the airports. Like it's going to be chaos. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this doesn't only apply to CAP subject or anything like that. It's
any H1B. I mean, if you think about it, it is a fee, because which company files an H1B for their employee and tells them they can't travel, right? It's assumed everyone's going to travel. So if everyone's going to travel, the idea is everyone has to have a $100,000 fee paid on their behalf, right? What it's really doing is it's trying to dissuade companies from doing H1Bs in the first place.
Yeah. I'm sure you are getting a lot of calls and emails.
Yeah. I mean, my phone is blowing up right now. My Slack is blowing up from my employees. Emails blowing up. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely pretty insane. It's nuts, and definitely unexpected, and really concerning. This is actually a lot worse than we had a few hours ago. It seemed like a lifetime ago. It's a lot worse than we had anticipated just a few hours ago.
Yeah. And so if someone were to call, like if your H1B employers are calling you like, hey, what should we do? Or if people are on H1B asking for advice, they should probably not travel at this point.
So right now, the primary concern are those that are traveling, right? If you're abroad, if you can, get back here on Saturday. If you can't, hold tight, but you're going to be stuck for a little bit. Do not plan to enter the U.S. On Sunday or afterwards until we have some more clarity as to whether or not the courts have enjoined this rule, and you actually have permission to come. I can't see companies paying $100,000 per H1B, so you're probably going to be stuck abroad for a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, and people who are in United States have H1B should not travel.
100% do not travel if you're on an H1B. Otherwise, you're probably going to be stuck.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry about the audio issue. For some reason, my audio was not capturing from this and from somewhere else, but hopefully you got the gist of it. So as long as you are in United States, even on H1 visa or going to be on H1B visa, this should not affect you. Technically, for people who are on H1B outside United States wanting to come into United States, this is going to affect them and they need $100,000. That was the kind of overall thesis. But of course, we're going to learn a lot more in the coming weeks. So please consider subscribing to the channel. And Samir and I usually do every single week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. live session, where we're going to surely answer all the questions about this and probably more. There's also like a gold card news and executive order about it. So that's going to come very soon as well. But yeah, consider subscribing and we will keep you updated. But I hope this gives you some form of clarity. If you have more questions, put it in the comment section and I'll see you guys soon.